All right.
Hey, so we're gonna ask a few questions about Boyle Heights. And first of all, what's your name and what organization or where do you belong here in Boyle Heights?
My name's Andres Fuentes. I was born in this neighborhood, probably like 2-3 blocks south, near Hollenbeek Middle School. I lived like across the street from it, diagonally across from it, on 6th and Soto. So, yeah.
My name's Amy, and I live in El Sereno, but Vanessa and I have a business in Boyle Heights called ACTA.
And where were you born?
I was born I grew up in Exposition Park, but moved to El Sereno when I was like in preschool.
And how long have you had a business here in Boyle Heights?
2 years now. Yeah.
2 years.
How did you go about getting a business here?
Well, initially we started baking from our home kitchen in El Sereno, but Andy found the spot here in Boyle Heights on his way to work. On his way to the Gold Line, he spotted this empty soda fountain counter through the window.
Well, I just went in and tried talking to the pharmacist Raju, and he was like, I gotta talk to my partner, which I'm assuming is his wife, and then I'll let you know. So I didn't come in again for like 2 months or so. Then finally came in again, and then he still didn't have an answer, so came again like a few months later, and then he's like, yeah, you can do it, but you're gonna have to do all, we're not gonna pay for it. And I'm like, that's fine, because we initially was that. You have to do all the work.
And we did all the permitting for building safety, health department, sanitation, and all. It sounded pretty simple, but it took us around like 2.5 years to finish this tiny project. Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. It was hard. It felt like difficult, but Andy did most of that. Well,
And the biggest thing, if anyone wants to get anything move faster when you go to the city, take a lawyer.
yeah.
They're afraid of lawyers.
Yeah, if you don't have representation, if you're not a big company, they won't care about you, and they'll take their time and probably make you wait forever until you bug them.
There's an actual program where they get you a case manager, someone from building and safety that knows the ropes, and they kind of hold your hand through the process. The one guy, Bob Lander, the man that we got, was a nice fellow, and then he would just ask me, like, let me know when you're at the, I guess they call it what do they call it? Like counter, like they look over your plans and tell you what's wrong. Or checkup, I guess, or plan check. He would go. He would sit in on him, and you wouldn't say anything really. To be honest, I'm like, why are you here? But at the end is when it comes, because then he would be like, I'm going to speak to your supervisor. You did nothing to help these folks. That felt like some kind of justice was to me.
Yeah, I felt like
They weren't really nice too. A lot of the people that work over in building and safety are guys that are recently out of college, an engineering degree, so they like to be, I don't know, they like people to acknowledge them as engineers, but they're basically just pushing the codes from the city. So, I don't know, some of them have a big attitude about that. I saw a man yell at a lady because she was just asking a question. It was like, I'm an engineer. No. I'm like, calm down. Very impatient, yeah.
Wow. And what can you tell me a little more about Cake Girl and what you do what you make?
So Cake Girl is an allergy-friendly bakery. Everything is egg-free, dairy-free, soy-free, nut-free, gluten-free, and everything is also vegan. And we do baked donuts, cupcakes, custom cakes. We have like
Coffee cake.
non-dairy, horchata. Yeah. So.
And how did you learn to make all this?
I think it was just like simple substitutions for things. Like learning how to bake this way to replace something. Like egg was a big one. And we used applesauce. Yeah.
But most of this alternative baking is self-taught. Growing up, like non-dairy options were rare on the east side. So, like instead of traveling far to the west side, I'd start making stuff without dairy. Yeah, and then I started excluding other things like egg and soy and gluten and nuts for others who have other allergies as well.
And you're allergic to dairy?
Yeah, Andy and I are lactose intolerant. Yeah, we grew up lactose.
So, see, growing up, you didn't have too many alternatives.
No, but okay, a big one. Sunday morning, my dad would go to mass, and then he'd come back on his way back. He'd get champurrados for everyone, and I'd be like, I can't have this. But then, I mean, they would sort of like guilt me into like having the champurrado, and I'm like, oh, I already feel it. It's not gonna, yeah. And half of my day would just be on the toilet.
Like his family isn't very accepted of like allergies or food sensitivities. And,
Yeah, every little thing.
not really understanding.
So my mom knows that I don't eat meat. I eat mostly vegetarian, you know. So she'll bring me lunch sometimes just to be nice. But it'll be like a chicken sandwich, and I'm like, I can't eat that. And I feel bad, but I ended up giving it to other folks over here that do eat it. I'm looking at you, George. Yes, I am.
And so, how has it been to have that type of food here in this community? Do people accept it?
Interested. I mean, like, there's a few folks, usually younger kids, that are like, you know, coming of age, and they're like, I want to be vegan. I want to cut out some meat out of my diet, so I'm gonna eat here. You know, like, I'm gonna get my sweets and treats here.
I think people are pretty accepting of it. There are vegans in Boyle Heights, like local or non-local, and we have people who come from other cities as well. I think something that I noticed is the senior crowd. They come for the gluten-free stuff. They're like, I'm gluten-free, I can't have gluten, and it's nice to have something like local that I can go to.
Do you also have sugar-free options?
Not sugar-free. We have low sugar options, so we can substitute like a custom cake with either agave or maple syrup, but it's not completely sugar-free because agave maple syrup does have a low sugar content.
Okay. Yeah, I was just asking because I know there's a high diabetes as well.
Yeah.
So people ask about that as well.
Yeah, we get asked that regularly, but we say we have low sugar options. They're not all available all the time, but we help. But I mean, we've made a few like low sugar cakes with maple syrup.
Yeah, but if it's for like a advanced pre-order cake, you can definitely substitute it.
And for you, Andy, you grew up here in Boyle Heights.
Yes, I did.
Do you want to share any stories of growing up here, like something memorable, like maybe an event or a place that you really
There was
loved?
a lot of things that happen. So growing up, I was a nerd, total nerd. But a lot of my friends growing up, still friends with them now, which I'm really grateful for, because my mom would always banter me about how my friends are not the kind of friends you'll be friends with in 20 years. Still friends with them now. Yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah, I guess like we were like kind of like gutter punks, you know. We'd go to gigs, wouldn't come home for days. But I had straight A's. I was a good kid in that respect. Yeah, but I don't know.
And Junior Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I hated high school. To be honest, I hated the structure, the social constructs on how you're supposed to be a normal kid. You're supposed to be popular. I don't know. I just never liked it. I never liked it. And that's why when I got accepted to UCLA, I went to the school furthest away. So I went to Santa Cruz. And people were like, why? I'm like, because it's far away as much as I can. I don't know. It was great being in Santa Cruz. I mean, I got to learn to just live. I was on my own, so a lot of things I had to somehow come up with rent. Somehow, I don't know. Big thing. A lot of the things that I was foreshadowing when I was about to leave is when they were about to open the gold line. And I'm like, things are gonna change once that gold line opens. Living here is not gonna be cheap. All these things that I made some kind of, I don't know, foresight, I guess. And I'm like, boom, it happened. On top of many other things, but I won't get into those because these are more just how this community, this district was left high and dry. I knew just because of like how the city sections are divided, or they're partitions. If you think about it, so in New York, you know how many city council seats there are there? 51. Now, based on that ratio, we are supposed to have 21, but we hardly have that kind of representation. Do you think the same needs for Boyle Heights are the same needs as in Eagle Rock, as in the folks that live in downtown LA, or El Sereno? They're not all the same, even though we're neighbors, like Boyle Heights, Sedano. We don't have the same needs. Not exactly. Like, just because we're brown? Like, we all want the same thing? I don't know. I don't know. Recently, I had to deal with, like, calling District 6, which is Nuri Hernandez District. We had to call her district office for them to remove the sign. That took forever, but it finally happened.
And then, in terms of parking, I wanted to ask, was there ever parking in Boyle Heights?
I think last time I told the story about like this scrapbook of photos with Tam. They used to be the kind of have barbecues on the weekend, parties, have people over. There's a picture of folks standing on the porch, or sitting on the porch, and you can see behind them there was no cars parked on the sidewalk. I'm like, damn, that's nice.
It's really congested.
Now this is something that could have been, early 2000s could have been, I don't know, I knew this place was impacted the minute I came back from college. And I'm like, this is way impacted. What are they doing to help? Nothing. I mean, if you think about it, our neighbors to the east in Highland Park, you can pay for that at the pharmacy. Yeah. But further east, we're not east, north. Those guys, I'm not a big fan of Cedric, well, Cedillo, like the council member up there, but what he did do was put public parking lots, you know? He at least did that, even though he was
like last year, I think they're going by Metro.
There's so many.
If they just made those into residential parking, gave them a permit, like it would be so much better for them. For businesses, for residents.
No gracias.
Yeah, but I think last year they made there's like street parking on St. Louis is congested, but last year they did a roundabout and that took away like 10 parking spots. I think it was safer, but I'm not.
I don't know. It's safer, yeah. I do get that the notion on that. It's better pedestrians, and so when they get a call, they can just go straight instead of stopping at the stop sign. It's going on the roundabout. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in terms of places, what are your favorite places here in Boyle Heights?
Here, Tommy Sons.
Tommy Son's.
She's super nice. One time, I went over there to pick up some stuff and then came back. Here she comes in her car because she said she made something wrong, and I'm like, it's fine, don't worry. And she dropped it off. I'm like, wow, you're great.
Really, other spots like
Street tacos and grill, those guys. Because I feel, those guys make me feel like I'm in the right place, because they're a little older than us, but we're about the same age, and we think alike, sort of.
They're there every day, they're owner operated.
Yeah.
They don't take a day off, pretty much.
How about events? Any favorite events?
Events, we're the kind of folks that once we're done here, we like to go home and get cozy.
But Andy said there used to be a Green Street food fest a while ago.
That was ages ago, like decades ago. The Breed Street Food Fair.
Yeah.
That was the jam.
There's just some outdoor.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it because they're on the Bank of America parking lot. Maybe that was it that got closed down. That was a great thing. It built a lot of people to an actual brick and mortar. When there was something Carmen.
Oh.
Yeah.
¿El Día de Músico? No.
No, they did like antojitos.
Oh, okay.
But Carmen, I don't know.
They made the best potato salad.
It was the best. Their salsa bar was amazing. And then they moved. And then I don't know where they are now.
I remember that.
There's the churro guy with his little thing, and we're like, wow. Amy never got to see it, but I went almost every Friday.
We just go to the farmer's market at Alianza Plaza.
Yeah. They should do something like that. I know they're trying to, especially in recent times, there's a lot of like praise and appreciation folks want to give to the vendor. Make a space for them so they could go and, show off who they are, because they deserve it too. I mean, I love it when the ice cream dude is waiting across the street, but he's still just ringing the bell because he's used to just ringing the bell, and I'm like, oh man, it's ice cream dude, so I'll run outside. And,
still get excited when we hear that bell.
yeah.
And you were talking about punk shows. Were there any punk shows here when you were going there? Or what other type of music was good?
Pecan was a big place. Some on Anderson, like empty lots or whatever, they would have them there. Then you have to go more east.
And it was bands from Boyle Heights or other?
Just our friend Emmanuel had this band with this one guy from the original punk band in Boyle Heights. The Shagrats was E-Man's band, but the guitarist was in this other band. I think that was.
Your friends are still in there.
Most of them, yeah. Ooh.
What other music was big here in Boyle Heights? Or what other music do you hear now that seems to be big here?
Maybe like psychedelic.
Well, no, Los Espantos is a big, huge one. I think they got featured in Boyle Heights Beats. Just this last one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like psychedelic rock is coming back. One of our customers, he is kind of part of like this band from Boyle Heights called Las Palmas.
What is it called?
Las Palmas?
Oh, Las Palmas?
Oh, Amy, I'll look it up.
Mask.
It's not the mask, you're a liar.
Yeah.
Just blame it on the mask. Oh, what's that thing called? Oh, Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
And how do you see your baking as an art expression?
I think so. Yeah, a lot of times our clients give us like an image or like a cake inspiration, and I try to do something similar, and it's always fun. I get to, all of our cakes are frosting designs, so we don't use any fondant. So I try to get creative with frosting and the tools I have. Art.
And that one band was Los Fauna. Fauna. Fauna.
Okay. Thank you. I saw that you had a sign for Black Lives Matter in the front. So I was wondering to ask, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you all?
For me, it's mostly like highlighting the systematic racism that our cities are built. When you think about it, it's just people of color in this city. From Watts riots to, Rodney King, like it's just, it's been a systematic. I mean, why would you take a case made for the city and then take it to Simi Valley? Rodney King.
Yeah, and we grew up, we were young during that time, maybe like 3 or 4, but I still remember like the fires and like things I was young to see, and it was scary. It has to happen.
It has to happen. I mean, it's not pretty. It's never going to be pretty. I don't know. I feel like do your thing. I'll be in the passenger seat. You do you. Yeah, we're in the back seat, just like I don't know. It's not substantial the amount of changes that has been already. Like I don't think that's enough at all. But we got to get there. We got to get there. And we're progressive, so we're not happy to vote for Biden. We're gonna vote for him because we can't not leave it to chance. It's gonna vote him in. But I like what's going on in the House, in the Senate, all these progressive races, like seeing it happen. I'm like, yeah, that's how it should be. I want a lot more AOCs and Bernies so you can retire. And then he has grandkids he wants to play baseball with. Do that.
And now with times of COVID, have you seen any changes in the neighborhood and in your business?
offering takeout only. Some restaurants closing for 3 months for the quarantine, the initial quarantine. Also, some people not wearing their face mask or social distancing.
Or just
They don't.
blatantly disregarding
They're just-
that there's all these safe measures in place. Now, I would suggest that lunchtime, go to Allenby's and look at the crowd. Oh, morning rush hour at the post office, right here on First.
Everyone's pretty proud.
No mask. I had to send off my taxes, and I stepped in, looked in, and I'm like, no. There's people without masks. I was like, no, I am not gonna stand in this line, because I'm with the general public all the time, helping people out. I can't afford to get the virus.
I understand the post office is always congested, but maybe they're understaffed. But everyone's really congested, and not everyone is wearing a face mask.
Yeah.
What else have we seen?
I think it's like a weird disregard for like social distancing and masks. I got scared that Christian church across the street. They're having Sunday service and people were going in there without
Yeah,
masks.
they also had a wedding. And
They had a
the
wedding.
guests and children didn't.
Oh, the children didn't have a mask. That really got me. I'm like, ugh.
It was, there was a lot of people. It's always scary. It's
Yeah.
always concerning to see people unmasked in a big place.
And any funny stories you want to share? Interesting stories in the neighborhood?
There was someone that for months on end was stealing our public trash can. It used to be on the corner. So he stole it once and I don't know where he took it. Then so I called the city, made a ticket with the city and was like, hey, I want a trash can. They're like, okay. And I kind of call back. So that's how you get stuff done with the city. Just call back. Keep on calling back until they know your name and what you want. So it got to that point that like the next day in the morning, someone dropped off a new trash can. Within a week, that one was taken,
Yeah.
and I made another ticket, but I didn't call because I know what they would probably say. Your trash can's been stolen a lot. I don't think we should put another one out there. So now we don't have a trash can on the corner.
We dropped off our public trash.
That's
Yeah.
weird. And here, what is your favorite treat that you saw?
Favorite treat that we like to eat?
Yes.
Right now, definitely the chocolate cake donut. That was really fun. And the cream-filled cupcake.
I like the plain blueberry one. Not big on the seeds, but I'll do with that.
Anything else you'd like to add that I haven't asked?
Don't.
Oh, Andy, your birth story.
Oh yeah, I was born in a bathtub
Yeah.
because there was a clinic just down the street from our house. I'm out. Yeah, and it was supposed to be a school. They thought that, so now it's nothing. But it was a clinic, and my mom went in there like, I think this baby's in a pot. And they're like, hi, you're okay, go home. So she went back home the next day, and so she had me. My mom's a lot of talk. Remember saying when she told that story to me when I was young? Oh yeah, I gotta sue those people. And then she never did anything about it. I'm like, okay, mom, you're a lot of talk. Yeah.
Any other stories you all wanna add that I haven't asked? Or something?
I would say this one hits a little closer to me only because I'm currently dealing with it. But don't turn away from a homeless person. You don't know what's wrong with them if they ask for something. Give them an ear. They have crazy stuff to say. Give them an ear, because sometimes it's funny. But not my best friend, but he was one of my friends, a little group of friends that we used to hang out with. At one point, he just lost his mental bolts, so he became schizophrenic. And so I see him every day. He comes in for $1 and a cookie, and he takes a soda. And I see the ups and downs with him. Sometimes he's deranged and yelling a lot and talking. And then other days he's like, "Hey, Andy." And I'm like, "Hey." Kind of brightens my eyes when he does that. I'm like, "Hey."
Everyone on the street knows him too.
Yeah, even our friends at the taco joint. They're like, "Oh, that's your friend?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I grew up with him." He's like, "I give him water every day." I'm like, "Thank you for giving him water."
Even one of our customers that saw him come in, she's like, "Let me buy him something." And we're like, "Oh, it's okay, we got it." Yeah.
Yeah, don't turn away from them. Especially those that have mental illness problems, don't turn away from it. It's real, it's happening, like. Homelessness?
Like the community needs to really focus on these issues. I'm sure there's a lot of issues to focus on, but these are important. They're like kind of the top issues.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere to start. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just to have, people just need to have more compassion, more patience. I get so upset when I'm in here doing my thing and I hear some of the people coming in for the pharmacy and they just start off yelling. And I'm like, this homegirl is a hard body. She works by herself for most of the day until 3. When the actual pharmacist comes in, she does it by herself. And she's super nice.
She's here every day. She doesn't, only get off on Sundays, and then that's when she does her housework and hang out with her husband.
She does mass.
It's like she puts everything into like Sunday.
Hi, Chayo.
Yeah.
She's amazing. That was her name, Chayo. Rosario, but that's her nickname. I call her Chayo. And I love calling her Chayo. It seems more real.
Thank you very much.
Hey, bye.